Hello, welcome to another edition of the podcast, my peoples. So today we're talking about cancel culture because I'm going to get canceled a heck of a lot after I do this. So we're going to bring Michael back in, and then we're going to start this up, and then we're going to have a little fun and talk about how stupid the world has become. And if you see this nice little mustache, it's the new addition to the podcast. You know, don't worry about that coming out. So we're starting our news broadcast. We're bringing Michael back now. And close all rooms. And we'll close it, and I'm bringing him back whenever he comes out. Hello. If you see the new edition, that's the newest edition I got. I upgraded my Zoom a little bit, and it's add a little opacity to the stash. Don't worry about the flashing off. But welcome to the first edition of How Stupid the World Has Become. We're talking about cancel culture.
Oh, fun.
Cancel culture. What have we canceled in 2020? Let's think.
They're trying.
They've canceled Ellen.
Did they get rid of her show?
No, they didn't get rid of her show. They canceled her though. But she was like, apparently she's very cool.
Yeah, because she was mean.
Yeah. So, yeah, they canceled a woman who won the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it's literally the most beloved person among Caucasian women in America. I mean, the woman gives away so much money in so much stuff. You can't just hate her. I don't care what she's doing in the backstage, but she's giving away 55-inch, 65-inch television screens on TV for no reason, and her tickets are free. So, I can't complain. What else are they canceling?
Yeah, she was mean to.
Oh, yeah, they canceled Aunt Jemima.
Cuomo.
I did not. They canceled Aunt Jemima.
Was she a real person? Wasn't she a real person?
I don't think she was, but apparently it's racist. Yeah. But you know whoever discovered that Aunt Jemima was racist, I need to go talk to them and tell them they have too much time on their hands. That you look dead at a syrup bottle or pancake mix and decide, that doesn't look nice to me. I think that's a little bit racist. And now they canceled Aunt Jemima. They took her picture of all the mixes and the syrups, and they changed the company's name to the Pearl Mill Company. I mean, I'm not advocating racism, but come on, man. To me, I just like a nice bottle of syrup.
Yeah, I mean, Aunt Jemima, there was an actual person who played her for a long time.
And that person made a lot of money off of that.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it's racist. I forgot how it's racist. I'm going to Google that, actually. How was Aunt Jemima racist?
That one's...
I do zero preparation for these things. I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Aunt Jemima racist. There we go. Oh, all caps. Who else have they canceled? Oh, they're canceling Mr. Potato Head.
Oh, yeah, because it's not gender neutral, even though literally it's a potato that comes with parts you stick into it. It's not gender. It's a potato. There's Mr. Potato Head that are the pieces that you can plug into the potato, but there's also other potato features that you can also plug into it that are gender neutral.
People are canceling everything now. I mean, I'm telling you, 2021, they're canceling Barbie dolls. They're probably canceling that. I mean, it's almost guaranteed. Who else are they canceling? They're trying to cancel Uncle Ben. I forgot what he does.
Really?
I forgot. I guess. All I know.
It's a rice.
Every food name that starts with aunt or uncle is usually delicious, and the fact you're going to take it from us, it's going to change the flavor. Mentally, it's going to change the flavor.
Oh yeah.
What else do they cancel? Oh, they're going to. I swear they're going to cancel the military in 2022. I swear they're canceling the military. Because everybody keeps looking at the defense budget and they're like, we spend a heck of a lot on the military.
The only thing keeping the world in check.
I'm sorry, America. We're nosy. We have to get involved. That's kind of our thing. It's kind of keeping the world, peaceful and not letting Russia and China rule all the rest of the continents. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We're the only thing that's ever prevented Russia from invading the rest of Europe.
I'm sorry. And I'm in this youth in government program.
Yeah, YIG.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I'm part of that. And God, Michael, it's to the point where it is so hard for me to stay there in that Discord. There's this one kid who's he's a hater on Ronald Reagan, and I'm really upset about it. It makes me so upset to go in those voice calls because he's a supreme hater of Ronald Reagan, and it makes me upset. Oh, he sponsored the crack epidemic, AIDS epidemic. Stop smoking crack. Sorry, just say no. I'm sorry. I can't help that you want to smoke crack. Smoke crack is not anyone's problem but your own.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing University of Pennsylvania Model Congress.
Mhm.
And I have to register. My speech and debate teacher, I keep getting kicked out of the class for whatever on Schoology, and it keeps taking me out of it, and it's
I don't think that's an accident.
Yeah, it's like come on.
I
think like the administration just keeps.
But for my YIG program, at least I wrote a decent bill. I wrote an education bill, and it's to prevent college tuitions for overcharging. I got no problem with people preventing colleges from turning into companies. I'm had no problem with that. I don't have a problem with everybody keep telling me that I need to restrict it more and give government, the federal government, access. And I'm just like, I know. I understand, but no. They're canceling everybody in 2021. They're going to cancel me. I think they already have canceled me because they told us to take these political alignment and political compass tests. And I'm sorry. And I posted mine up there, and people were just left in awe. Oh, like your borders closed? No, I just don't want millions of people jumping over them. I mean, if there's one thing the U.S. is good at, it's not being invaded. That tends not to happen too much anymore.
It hasn't happened since 1812, effectively.
Madison's War.
Last time someone tried to invade us, kind of, was Mexican-American War, and we got all the way down to Mexico City and decided to give all of it back.
James John Polk was not a nice man when it came to invading his country. He didn't like that too much. Then we kind of went down to we kind of took Texas, Oklahoma, and then we took a couple of states out of New Mexico. You know,
and technically, Texas just seceded and decided to come to us because they were their own thing for a while, and then they decided, I'd rather go to the U.S. than Mexico. And then Mexico got upset at that, and we kind of put some troops at the border where it was disputed, and then they fired on said troops and tried to invade Texas, and then we just went all the way down to Mexico City.
I'm sorry.
We would have taken all of Mexico if we wanted to.
I will never be in support of taking military money away because I see a lot of countries. They're like, oh, dang, they kind of like step on a lot of landmines over there in Europe. So a little bit in Europe sometimes. France got a lot of landmines over there, and so does a lot of other countries over there. We don't have too many of those though, because we don't tend to step on those because our military tries not to blow us up, except for my U.S. history teacher, he is a friend who used to work the CIA, and I think his CIA friend should be arrested for the things he was telling us that he told my teacher.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to talk about that stuff.
I think he said something about, he was talking a lot about 9/11 and why the towers fell straight down and why a plane just happened to crash in a field. They said the government was responsible for imploding the buildings. They do it in all big buildings.
That so easily. That's not a difficult argument to make. And then a lot of people I know a lot of people explaining why the plane crashed in the field is easy because
They shot it
people
down.
took over the plane.
You can take over the plane, or the government can shoot it down. They have ways of covering that up.
Yeah,
You can shoot down a plane to save a nation's capital, where literally no one was at. But the vice president wasn't there. Neither was the president. I mean, no one. I just don't understand the conspiracy theories around this stuff. There was a lot of conspiracy theories. The buildings would have fell over because the way they were, the planes went and the building should have fell over instead of imploding. I mean,
if the building goes straight down, so the plane goes into it this way, it hits it. It's not. There's nothing forcing it to go one direction or the other. Of course, stuff would go off to the sides like it did, like it does in every building that gets imploded or whatever. But it wouldn't necessarily. There's no reason that it would go like this when the plane crashing was at the top of the building. It's not like it was at the bottom of the building, the one side where the whole thing would just go down in one direction.
I'm not expecting the wind to go that fast that they're pushing over huge towers. Because other than that, the tower needed to fall a long time ago because it wasn't structurally safe to work in.
Yeah.
But the things I just don't understand. That sounds like things you shouldn't even speak about outside of your job or at work. I mean, that sounds like treasonous or espionage. That's why they're still looking for Edward Snowden.
Yeah, he's in Russia.
Yeah, they really did that. They really made sure. U.S. they don't like people who speak out against the government, especially when it comes to giving out secrets. They tend to, handle you.
To be fair, the CIA just perpetuates a lot of problems. They're not very good at the military stuff or the only thing they're good at is intelligence gathering and sending in their own people, paramilitary stuff. But they're not good at staging things. They never have been. It's always
they don't care too much about making it look like nothing happened. Okay, I'll do this. Let's go over and look. They still believe that Oswald was talking to the Soviet Union. They're still investigating this. They have documentaries like he was colluding with the Soviet Union because they were in Mexico. Oh, it was a lot. I watched the whole documentary. I got really bored about it because of the serious conspiracy theories they were putting out. It's a lot. It's really hard, just to sit here and watch. If you guys think the government is really that effective, Congress can effectively work a third of the entire year, but the CIA, the FBI they're working so much harder than the government is doing. I just don't, that doesn't make sense. But I swear, they're canceling the military because they don't believe we should be pumping so much money into the Navy and the Air Force, which is the only thing keeping China from, moving farther into the South Pacific. But
Taiwan, India, Japan, Australia, eventually Indonesia very quickly. It would be Taiwan could repel a Chinese assault for a little while. Their defense of that island is so good. Because that's all they have to worry about. They don't have to worry about everybody else. China doesn't have the capability of taking their troops anywhere. They don't have any troop transport ships, or very few, not enough to deliver enough people. And they have a plan for this. What they're going to do is obviously China's going to bomb Taiwan, but all their aircraft and a lot of that stuff are actually in tunnels in mountains in Taiwan, so that are bomb proof. So as soon as and then they have submarines that they have 2 submarines, good submarines that could easily repel the Chinese assault. Not to mention we would immediately get involved with at least the Navy doing something. And we probably use some of our submarines to sink their ships.
I mean, people keep thinking I'm only seeing the right-wing side of things. I know, I understand. With the U.S. being all over the place, they have a real problem when it comes to escalating things. I mean, they went in Iran and Iraq. We haven't left, but I don't think our country's like 300 times, 20, 50 times bigger than theirs. It's taken us 18, 20 years to go find some missiles. It's a little bit of escalation there, but U.S. with not intervening in the war in World War II. I mean,
Yeah, Korea.
yeah, Korea. I mean, I'm sorry that we don't want North Korea and China trying to take over the planet. What North Korea's unrealistic goals.
I think we should, when we invaded Iraq, I think we should have gotten rid of Saddam Hussein and gotten out. That would have solved most of the problems, but we decided to stay and try to stabilize the region.
Yeah, they found him in a hole. They found Hussein in a hole.
Yeah, they would have stabilized the region by themselves, like any other country does, eventually, and learned not to hate us eventually because we killed a really bad guy, or helped kill a really bad guy in his armies. But after that, it was kind of like, oh, we shouldn't be here anymore, and we're just perpetuating any problems in the region.
The U.S. needs that in case the world turns against them. They need to be around the area because if the world turns against them, the U.S. is real quick to cut off everyone's oil supply. So, the world says, we don't like the U.S. We'll turn on now. And the U.S. will be like, okay, you want to turn on us? We got thousands of troops in the Middle East that will cut off all your oil supply, and you'll all be sitting at home because you can't drive. So, the U.S.'s oil supply the U.S. could actually fund itself. They could fund themselves with their own materials, their own oil, but, we choose not to use our own stuff, and we can easily go take it from you, people who, don't want to actually spend your money that you don't have. Greece still broke.
Greece is.
But yet they're still getting NATO protection. All these countries in Europe, people are really mad at the U.S. for really coming after Europe for not paying up in NATO because they're broke. Why are you getting into defense agreements and you're broke? That's not anyone else's problem but your own. And the only reason we're still there is because, you can't let Russia go into Asia and Europe and take it over. But, that's cool stuff. Cool stuff.
And to be fair, like certain countries like England does a good job at spending their money. So do the former Soviet countries. They really spend money because they don't want Russia to get in. Even the small ones like Estonia, they have a large military for how small they are.
They're like
good.
Yeah, they're
I think they have mandatory service. Yeah, and then I know like a lot of those countries have mandatory military service and stuff, and they want people to, because they don't like Russia. They realize, hey, we don't want to go back to that ever again. And so they have good militaries, and they actually kind of hold up their end of the bargain, and we just help them out because they're small, and the economic activity there isn't absurd.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the only really good one like that's country that actually does anything for their military is England, and they do a good job at funding their military.
My group we all unanimously hate Britain. Everyone hates the UK. I'm sorry, but the UK cannot keep talking about us so badly. You have so many school shootings. We're scared to be in your country. Yeah, but you walk down the street and get stabbed, but your free healthcare is not saving your life now, is it? Your queen is 94. Britain has a lot to say, but between them, they're terrible. They're in their English speaking. That's also another reason I hate Canada, the way they speak English, pronouncing every letter and every word. I hate it so much. Canada really makes me sick sometimes with their accent. Britain has so much to say, but they don't acknowledge that they colonized half the planet. They colonized India. In France, UK and France, they colonized the planet.
Yeah, they owned most of the world at one point. And then they kind of, after our revolution, everybody got the right idea, and now they're now they have nothing. They have a tiny island off the coast of Europe. It's smaller than the state of Texas.
I'm sorry. If I was president, I want Greenland so bad. I want it so much. Greenland is the most in about 100 years, Greenland is the most valuable piece of land on this planet. Because climate change, it'll all start melting, and then all that sweet oil is going to be up there waiting, oil and gas for everybody to come take away from them. Denmark is just holding on to it. and they're
Yeah,
losing money.
If Greenland was a U.S. state, I'd definitely move there.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't live there. I'm okay with the cold. I don't need to live on ice cap. I can't do that.
Yeah, but like there's cities and towns there. There's not very many of them. There's like 3, and they're not big. But
Alaska,
yeah,
I couldn't live in Alaska. People tend to get murdered there a whole lot. Alaska's like a very dangerous state to live in.
yeah.
It's expensive and people get murdered. Plus, I still don't forgive Sarah Palin for what she did to John McCain. I still won't forgive Sarah Palin. Yeah. I think they might cancel Joe Biden. I think they're going to cancel him too.
Yeah.
Everybody will sour up on Joe Biden. They will sour up on him. They realize, oh, wait, there's an 80-year-old man running our country, and some of his promises are taking longer than he said they would.
Yeah.
I mean, he did spend like the first 10 days signing executive orders, reversing everything Donnie did while he was there,
I'm just hoping he doesn't. I know he asked Congress to pass a bunch of gun legislation and stuff, which I really like. I've been Reddit, the cesspool that is their political subreddits. I've been debating with people a lot there recently. A lot of people on actually a pretty neutral subreddit. It's actually good. It's surprisingly r/ask a liberal, and it's surprisingly neutral, and it's actually fun to talk to.
I know Joe has his heart in the right place. It just doesn't align with everybody else, and I feel like his vice president's going to try and mess him up in some way. I still don't trust his vice president. I won't say names because I'll get canceled. I can't say names, but there's a certain person in his inner circle that will take him down the same way Reagan's people were trying to take him down in his second term. I'm sorry, Joe's probably going to suffer the same fate Ronald Reagan was, except Joe's mind isn't failing him at the moment.
Yeah.
When Ronald Reagan's mind started to fail, his cabinet started running over people. Reagan got shot. His Secretary of State, who has no idea what the Constitution is, but his Secretary of State decided, so we're going to ignore the Speaker of the House and the Senate pro tempore, and I'm just going to say I'm the president because the vice president wasn't at the White House. Bush wasn't at the White House. Neither was, and Reagan was, in the hospital. America didn't have anyone running the country because everybody was sitting on their hands wondering, who's going to run the country? Because Ronald Reagan is like 870 and he's got shot. So, and his cabinet, I don't believe he picked them because of their skills. I looked at some of his cabinet members. A lot of them, at least he picked a teacher I think he did pick a teacher for his Secretary of Education. I think he did. Secretary of Education, because people hated Betsy DeVos because she wasn't. Well, I have no idea. But who else are they canceling? I know they canceled somebody. They're canceling someone else. People they canceled singers, Demi Lovato. They did stuff. They canceled everybody. Who else they canceled?
Chuck Norris is going to be soon if they haven't already done him.
Who?
Chuck Norris. I guarantee he's pretty close.
Why are they canceling him?
Pro-gun. Very pro-gun. Does a lot of NRA commercials. That doesn't look favorable. So I have a feeling he's going to be next.
They canceled
Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's also pro-gun. So they're probably going to be next, is my guess. Because they're the only people you can go after now is the pro-gun ones, because everybody else who's done something wrong has been canceled. It's like,
they canceled Donnie years ago. Cancel culture is just, seriously, they're getting out of control with the stuff they do. They're canceling the wrong people for the wrong reason. Cuomo, okay, he'll be canceled within the next. Well, yeah, he's been canceled. Apparently, he got praised for all of his COVID action, but turns out he kind of pushed over a few deaths. Well, a lot of people died, and he didn't want to talk about that. And then, the allegations came out. It seems whenever a scandal comes out, a lot of misconduct allegations come out. Can't get canceled, can't get bars here. I mean, everybody. And there are a lot of, let me just Google the ones that they have come up with. Let me see. It's so hard to take some people seriously because they just come, like, really? Joe Biden? Really? You think someone's going to believe that?
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I just, let's see. Governor Cuomo, allegations.
He said someone asked if he could kiss somebody. He kissed somebody forcibly, said some mildly creepy things. And then that's why they're trying to cancel him. Is what I was gathering.
So they tried to remove him from office, but they said the allegations matter.
Yeah.
They do matter. It's just I've seen a lot of people do a lot worse. I mean, R. Kelly was peeing on people, and it took you guys 11 years after he was acquitted to find new charges.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, Jeffrey Epstein. No one's even talking about that he was murdered in prison.
Louis C.K.
Huh?
Louis C.K. He got canceled, but that's been a long time.
I mean, Governor Cuomo, dude, why do they always, what is wrong with politicians, man? Can they just stop getting caught up in allegations?
Yeah, stop diddling people and you won't have to do, like in a lot, like, to be fair, a lot of people say this to get attention, money, or just because they don't like the person.
And that's how you make everything unbelievable. I can't believe this if a lot of them are going to start lying about it. Okay, Bill Clinton, sure, he kind of got impeached for it. Donnie, yeah, okay, he's a billionaire celebrity. Not all of them may be true. Most like a lot of them. Okay, he's Donnie. He's had 3 wives, and they each got younger as they go. So, okay, that makes sense. He's kind of the big billionaire dude, and then you have Joe Biden. I just can't believe he would do such a thing. I just can't do it. He's one of those presidents I don't believe is a cruel human being.
I think he means well.
It's just you just don't agree with it. I mean, he means well.
A little touchy though. He does get a little touchy. I mean, if you
they said he's the moderate.
He sniffs some hair. He touches some kids.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, he's just a feely person. Some people,
I mean, if Congress likes you, okay, that's a good thing to have when you're president. They need you to pass the legislation, and he at least he has been he was in Congress for so many years. I mean, just so many years he was in Congress. I think he went into Congress like 1972 or 73. Then he left, and then he left when he was vice president.
I'm not a fan that he one of the things he ran on, was how he passed the assault weapons ban in a pro-gun state, which Delaware is. And I personally think politicians should listen to their constituents and not do things that the constituents don't want. And that's one thing that he definitely did, was do something that his constituents didn't want. And that was, and I'm sure he's done that. Most politicians do it. In my opinion, the good ones don't, but
you got a lot of people. A lot of presidents who really, there's some presidents that you don't really have to, if I was president, I'd listen to my cabinet. They call you a pushover for listening to what your cabinet is. You appointed people who are skilled in something you're not. Education, energy, military. They're skilled at these things. I kind of will listen to them, and then you're going to call me a pushover. It's, JFK wasn't a pushover. He kind of did not trust his cabinet. He thought he was above that. And, well, it kind of was. It kind of was. They told him to, have a war against Cuba. That's not too nice. No one likes war against Cuba. Like communism.
Well,
Imperialism does not. Imperialism is does the U.S. really promote imperialism? Not really, but kinda, yeah. If you're pushing democracy on a bunch of communist country, I say it's for the greater good of the world, because communism should not exist. But people say it's not our place to intervene. When the world's taken over by Russia and China, you always say, why didn't the U.S. do anything? Then I'm going to have to tell you that you all voted for people who didn't believe they should do anything. And then they slashed military spending. Then Russia came over and put landmines all over the country. And then I'm trying to go pick my potatoes in Idaho, and I'm going to step on a landmine. I'm not going to have any legs. I have to call Congress. I'm going to get really upset, because I'm kind of legless now because the government refused to go over and tell people to stop being communist. And, then we're going to have problems. You can't do anything right anymore. You do something, you say one thing, now you're against the world. I just don't get that. I'm not against liberals, man. It's just some things you say need to stop saying it. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, they're electing the wrong people for the wrong reasons. They need to expel that guy who said I'm man and not a woman in Congress. They should expel him from Congress for being, incompetent. And he doesn't know what the English or language meant or any religious term meant, and he should be revoked as a pastor. He should be revoked from any certifications he may have for lack of common knowledge and sense. But
when I assess a political issue, what I do is I look at it, think logically, well, is this, like, if there's a bill proposed, it's like I look at it. Is it logical? Does it make sense? And then I look at it, does it violate the Constitution or any Supreme Court precedent that followed, And then if it's logical and it doesn't violate the Constitution, it's like, well, let's do that. But a lot of people don't understand that a lot of these things, like free college, it's like illogical. There's a lot of things. Banning certain types of guns doesn't make sense. It violates the Constitution. And then there's a lot of issues where it's like, you got to assess it. Does it make sense? Most of the time, it's no. Most of the time, it's to make people feel better. Republicans and Democrats are guilty of it. They want to pass legislation that just doesn't make sense, or it's not to the benefit of everybody. Which you have to think. Obviously, why would you do something that benefits
one side?
One side or the few. Or now, to be fair, you do need to prevent the tyranny of the majority, but you also should also listen to the majority because they make up the most amount of people. Whether doesn't matter what that majority is. If they're the majority, they make up they do most of the things. So you should probably listen to them and do what's beneficial for them the most, but also take into account who it's affecting. But a lot of people don't think of issues logically. It's like the whole one thing that I think everybody's getting wrong is the whole climate change thing. It's like,
okay, yeah, climate change is a problem, but do you think we need to take such extreme measures that will send a country into extreme debt to fix it? Okay, we can fix it over time. You can't just come rip my Ford Ranger, my F-150 out of my driveway and then replace it with a Prius. because I will go to the government and I won't storm the Capitol because I would cancel for that. But I'd happily go to the Dover Legislative Hall and bang on their doors to tell me why I don't have a pickup truck, and you're replacing with this hippie car. So, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people like one thing I very much disagree with is the Green New Deal that AOC proposed, because A, the cost is enormous. B, 99% of the provisions regarding climate change are just illogical, or they don't have a means of working. Like she wants to get rid of anything over 20 years, which is a reasonable amount of time, but not when you want to get rid of everything that's gas powered.
Well, not in a 329 million person country. No, you can't do that in 20 years.
Yeah, as well as the fact that it also wanted to account to make shipping completely carbon neutral, which is impossible, being that there is no feasible way to make planes non-gas powered. The only reason planes fly is because they use fuel to, there's literally no scientific way to make a jet not use fuel. It's a literal science. It has to burn fuel to fly. And there's no way, even for a propeller-driven aircraft, we don't have the battery storage capability, nor really the battery storage capability to make even a propeller-driven plane fly for an extended period of time with a load. It's like, so that bill's completely insane and off the table. And then I don't like that the Republicans are just like, no, let's just ignore it. Let's just not deal with this problem and perpetuate it, because a lot of it is just trying to perpetuate it, especially when they wanted to drill in our oil reserves, in Alaska, which, we need to save those for a rainy day, but that's a different problem. And then, it's just, you got to think of things logically. It's like, we'll figure it out by the time it's get bad. It's like, well, will we? We have nowhere else to go. Yeah, we have nowhere else to go. There's if we had somewhere else to go, that was technologically feasible, maybe we could make it a slower process, but we don't. There's no inhabitable place to go, literally nowhere. Even if we go to Mars, it's like, oh, what? It's Mars. It's a red planet. There's nothing to do there. It's like,
it's not worth the trouble. I mean, one side won't want to do anything. Another side's doing too much. And then you have some of the good Congress people. You have people that are way too conservative, and you have people that are way too liberal. That's why they need to have term limits. They need term limits because there are positions in Congress that are for the most senior member, or, that makes zero sense why there's Congressman Don Young of Alaska has been there since the 70s.
Yeah.
And he's a congressman. He's probably in his 30th. Oh, no, 30th. He's 15th term, 15th, 25th. I don't know. People should not be in Congress that long. You can't force the president to do it if you're not going to force yourselves. That's why ageism laws are in place, so they can't leave.
With Congress, it's like there's when they get to sit there for life, they have no obligation or need to do anything. If they know they're only going to be in there for 2 terms, possibly, then they're more likely to get something done. Whether that's good or bad, that's a different question. But they're going to at least try to pass more bills and ultimately try to help the people more and not sit down, just sit and do the thing. Plus, you don't see a lot of new Congress people going in because, incumbents have the advantage in every election, unless they're really bad. You have to be exceptionally bad for an incumbent not to get elected.
If you're gonna try to, half the people in the country don't know what congressmen do. They just vote. So, and you have to be exceptionally bad not to get reelected to Congress. You have some people who just come into the government and they're like, oh, crap, I can be president. I'll run for president, and I had done nothing in politics before. But that can either make or break your presidency. Ronald Reagan, he won governorship. He was never actually a real politician. He didn't do anything in the government before. Well, he did a couple of small things with colleges.
He was in the military.
Nothing. He was. He's an actor, military actor.
Yeah, because he tried to be a combat role. He tried to get into a combat role, but he couldn't pass the vision test because he had really poor vision.
Like terrible. I don't know why he was president.
Yeah, and so he tried to pass it during World War II. And the nurse was like, because he would memorize the sheets, like the eye charts, and he basically just memorized them and do them. And then the lady changed it, and he couldn't read it. So they're like, no, you can't do a combat role. So they said, you're going to do this. Since he was already an actor, I think at the time, they said, you're going to make films to support the war. And that's what he did. But, at least he tried. It's kind of cool. Like, the presidents who were in the military during World War II were very impressive. They did some really heroic stuff.
When it comes to good presidents, there was a nice span of exceptionally good presidents. Well, a lot of people give FDR a lot of credit, but he does deserve a lot of credit. But some of the things he did was a tad bit unconstitutional. But
he
deserves a lot of credit for how he handled things. But the span between 1933 and the 1960s, in the early 1960s, from Roosevelt 2 to Kennedy, spanned a great presidents. Harry S. Truman, okay, he bombed Japan, but the war needed to end, and Japan wanted to surrender. Their pride overtook them, and he's not stupid, so he did not try to invade Japan. He's not dumb. Invading Japan is the stupidest thing a person could do. Eisenhower, exceptionally great because he didn't play political games. Eisenhower actually did. He was the person who was. He played good to the Republican side. He was on the side of civil rights. He sent the National Guard to help the children get into schools. And then,
the 101st Airborne.
The National Guard is being sent out to do the good things, not doing what the National Guard was doing early in the year, attempting to control the massive protests that were slowly turning into riots. They tried to contain it, but it really just made it kind of a little bit worse because, apparently keeping the order and the peace wasn't too nice to the people. Oregon has gone massively insane. Kennedy was a good president.
Yeah.
Then Johnson, he championed civil rights. Apparently Johnson was a good reason that these bills passed. They said civil rights, if Kennedy had not been assassinated, it never would have passed because Congress did not like Kennedy. He was a junior senator when he won president. I think he was a junior senator.
Because I remember Kennedy was a big fan of, he really wanted to help the civil rights movement, and I'm sure that was obviously in a very hot
he was cautious. Yeah, he was cautious about it. He didn't want to upset the Southern Democrats who elected him. Because, if Nixon had contested the 1960 election, he probably would have won it. But Nixon didn't want to have Kennedy be hated by half the country. So instead, Kennedy was hated by all of Congress. So, Kennedy's father, of course, I can tell you that was one of the main reasons he was in politics. When your father, you can buy your way into politics real easily. It's really not that hard to buy your way into politics. When your father managed not to go broke during the Great Depression, even though all of his money was in stocks, and it just happened to work it out.
The reason he had all of his money is because his family.
Yeah, the Penny family is very rich.
Yeah, but the reason they have their money is because during the Prohibition, they did a lot of rum running, and a lot of illegal activities during the Prohibition.
Just a couple of illegal things. We did a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of making some illegal alcohol. That's the way the Kennedys are doing it. JFK wasn't the most honorable human being, considering the the cancel and demonetizing activities I can't mention. YouTube will hurt me. He did a lot of canoodling. How should I say canoodling?
Yes,
LBJ. LBJ was good when it came to the civil stuff, but he kind of put those troops in Vietnam. That really was the downfall of him.
God.
It was the downfall.
Vietnam was like I think once we went to Vietnam, we shouldn't have stopped. We should the bad decision was to go to Vietnam all along. We shouldn't have gone to war in the first place because it was it sucks that we shouldn't have made any false promises to South Vietnam, but ultimately it would have been a losing war anyway, and we should have realized that. And plus, we went in relatively unprovoked. They attacked a few of our naval destroyers with basically some fishing boats with some AKs on. It's like, and then they dealt with those no problem. It wasn't like, oh, they sunk a ship. It's like, oh, they ricocheted off the armor of this battleship and they sunk, but we're still going to cause a lot of problems in the country.
Then you got your whole army out there, brutalizing the Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Probably a good reason they're known for their prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon came in, was elected to end Vietnam, then kind of got caught up in his own legacy and caught up in being, a little bit unhinged and he kind of tried to get himself reelected when he didn't need to. He was elected by 49 out of 50 states, so Watergate wasn't really necessary because you were doing something right. He opened up whatever China did, what ruined us was China, kind of opened up trade relations, which was praised at the time, the EPA. Other than that, Nixon quit, he resigned after, he knew he was going to get impeached and removed. Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon. That's all he did. And then, he didn't get reelected. No, he narrowly lost the nomination. He narrowly lost it to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was close to beating him for the nomination.
Yeah. Gerald Ford was a nice guy, though.
I know. Right? But then you pardoned Nixon, and that hurt you so bad. Hurt you so bad.
But he was a nice guy.
Jimmy Carter, another nice guy.
Yeah,
this was not the right guy to be president at that time. Yeah. Sure, I mean, you champion all the good stuff that people should want, but then, the economy sucked. Stagflation, stagnant inflation, which that is, inflation, inflation wasn't going down. I mean, it just stayed high. Then, Ronald Reagan ruined you in the election because the military was very weak. So Ronnie Reagan decided to ruin you and mercilessly kill your entire presidency. And then Iran completed the royal FU and decided to release those hostages as soon as Reagan was inaugurated. Because Reagan gets a lot of credit because they said no, because basically the Republicans were saying, oh, no one's going to mess with Ronnie Reagan. No one's going to mess with that. So they released the hostages. No, they were going to release the hostages. They just weren't going to do Jimmy Carter any favors. They were not going to give Jimmy Carter any credit for what he was doing over there. But
they royally messed up that situation.
They were not going to give Carter any credit. They were going to give Ronald Reagan everything. They didn't like him either. But Ronald Reagan took the war, just went into communism and said, you know what? I don't like communism. So I'm going to go talk to your leader and have them end communism. Ronald Reagan purposely purposely put us into a recession. He did it on purpose because that actually got rid of stagflation. Inflation went down. He basically messed up the economy to bring it back up, and it worked. But that's how he lost. That's how the Democrats regained a lot of control in the House and Senate, because they lost a lot of seats. He sacrificed those seats for the economy. So
good. There's things to do what's good.
Wait, who?
As long as you do what's good, you know.
I mean, he did it for the greater good. Ronald Reagan is
Yeah.
championed among conservative presidents, but people need to stop talking about Reaganomics. Stop using Reaganomics, man. It doesn't work anymore. Reaganomics does not work. You know, economists, even economists, they can't tell if Reaganomics, I mean, supply side economic, if it's good or if it's bad, because it's, how would I say, it's not, it's, oh God, I forgot the word for it. It's not something that is guaranteed to work. It's only if the businesses will cooperate. But
Yeah.
if economists can't decide whether something works or doesn't work, no one will ever understand. Reaganomics doesn't work anymore. That's common sense. Stop lowering taxes so low that the government can't profit off of it, because the government doesn't need a profit off its humans.
They should keep it at a solid like 30% at the most.
I know Donald Trump
30.
did lower it. I understand what Hillary Clinton said. Trump up trickle down economically dropped it like 21%, and his plan was to drop it even lower, I think. But it was very low. It was very, very low. It should be 30%, 30 to 30, maybe 20. 30 to 31. It should never go under 30, because no, there are too many rich people for that. I hate rich people. They make people like Delawareans look bad. They make us look bad. Okay, we're not poor, but we're not that lazy. We're not so lazy that Lady Gaga's dogs get. I want to cancel Lady Gaga. I'm canceling her 2021. That's exactly what I'm going to do, because exactly what she did. Her dog walker got shot 4 times, and she's offering money to find the person that kidnapped her dogs. That's the problem here. The person, not the dogs. Oh, everybody's like, oh, I feel so bad for her dog. I feel so bad for Lady Gaga. She's really suffering. Her dogs are really expensive. You forgot about the dog walker people. Yeah, that dog walker guy's got 4 bullet holes in them, and they're in the hospital dying. But she's worried about the dogs. I'm canceling Lady Gaga. I'm canceling the Kardashians. They should have been canceled years ago. First things first, I should cancel Kanye West too. Stop making the government look like a joke. Stop running.
He's nuts. He's insane.
Dwayne Johnson said he might run for president, and I feel like he'd win. Dwayne Johnson could probably run for president and win.
He's a nice guy,
He said he would, if people wanted him to run for president, he would. And I guarantee you he would win. There's no person who can beat Dwayne Johnson. I'm sorry. There's no politician on this planet that has his popularity.
Yeah.
This is like George Bush 2001 popularity. That's the kind of Dwayne Johnson popularity he'd get.
Yeah, at least he's nice and not completely insane, like most other famous people that have run for president.
Kanye West running. He decided he was going to. I don't believe any religious politician should ever be president. Religion it's unconstitutional if you're going to bring your religion into politics and how the government's run. That's unconstitutional.
Yeah, you should leave it out of politics. If you're religious,
unless it's common sense. I'm tired of people citing religion. The Bible says this. The Bible says that, dude. If it's common sense that believes this shouldn't happen or this should happen, it should happen or should not happen. Stop bringing your religious faith. Like the way they canceled Justice Barrett, Coney Barrett. They canceled her because she was Dianne Feinstein. The dog, I think she said something like the dogma lives within you. And they canceled her. They canceled her. I don't think you read it. No. I'm tired of them canceling everybody for no reason. I mean, Ellen, I can't cancel Ellen. Come on, it's Ellen. I just can't cancel her. Who else has been canceled? There's a lot of people that have been canceled. I think they canceled Donnie years ago. I think they're gonna cancel.
There was. It's hard to keep up with the amount of people that they try to cancel every
It's just sad how many people they've canceled. What I mean, they've I forgot.
Conservative. Anyone who's remotely conservative, they tried to at least silence.
And sometimes it's not warranted sometimes, especially the way I remember I saw this article what they did at Mitch McConnell. It was years ago, but they went he was at a restaurant with his wife and they just tried to hurt him. They were just sitting there screaming at his table like this dude is the leader. He's the majority leader of the Senate. Don't mess with him. His supporters will shoot you. He's a senator from Kentucky. They will shoot you. Stop playing games with them. It's not right. I understand if they came from California because, what are they going to do? Shoot with their water guns?
Man, they don't have water guns. Remember, they have droughts pretty much every other day.
You forget. Oh yeah, I'm canceling California because they're the worst thing to ever come out of this country, except Ronald Reagan came out of California. I will give a lot of credit to that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California for a while, right?
I mean, yeah, I think he was like the last Republican governor they had, but he was there I think he was there for 8 years. But I think they canceled him.
For a long while.
They canceled him. They did, but then they uncanceled him after he did say he didn't support Donald Trump. So that kind of got him uncanceled. Do you watch SNL?
Yeah, nothing.
To me, it's some of the most enjoyable political information I can see. It is hilarious watching how you can find a way to insult all these politicians. It's just hilarious.
They don't really lay off. They lay on to some people harder than others. Like they lay into conservatives harder than.
Yeah, I know. It's clear they're a left wing channel,
but they don't. But they lay into everybody.
They touch deeply on Joe Biden and his touching things and his weirdly aggressive, his racially charged stories a little bit. Old Charlie. In Wilmington, the main streets. Yeah, I don't like the city. People say, oh no, I don't like the city. It's a bit dangerous up there, man. I like lower Delaware. It's a lot safer down here. Except Lower.
I like Philly. After the canals now.
I'm not good in cities. I'd probably get hurt in cities because I might say something that get me canceled and beaten up. I might just say something wrong and they're gonna kill me up there. I'm sorry that I like I like food and stuff, non-colored food.
I've only been to Wilmington a couple of times. There's the Blue Rock. It's nice to go to a Blue Rocks game occasionally, but I prefer Philly over Wilmington.
And Joe Biden.
I definitely prefer.
I swear, Delaware has gotten a lot. They have really gone crazy since Joe Biden's been president. They're like, I think it was a tip. They said we finally get a guy from Delaware, and you guys and everybody wants to go crazy in Delaware, thinking they're above everybody else. I think I have done it too. I've been complaining about everybody else.
He's not from Delaware.
And I know he's not from Delaware. And it makes me upset that he used us to get elected. I'm sick of that. Yeah. People will acknowledge that.
He's kind of from Delaware.
Yeah, you represented Delaware for years because you were going to solid reelected. But no, you're not a Delawarean. Please stop claiming this. Don't claim us just because we support your sports teams and everything else about you because Maryland's a joke to us. We like Pennsylvania here. Please stop calling yourself you're from my great state of Delaware. Like he's here every weekend.
Yeah, Maryland.
Joe Biden stays at his house pretty much every week and every other weekend.
Maryland's like a worse version of Delaware.
Well, yeah,
Maryland is. They have a bay that's not as good as ours. They have really ghetto cities.
Like you just can't square up Delaware.
The home of the KKK for a long time. I think the head of the KKK was the last few have been from Maryland. It's once you get like a little bit outside their cities, it gets rough.
You know how Delaware I am. Look, I went to I'm part of Students in Action, and they give us gift cards every time we go to one of their conferences. They gave us Wawa gift cards. You know how Delaware this is? This is such a Delaware thing. And because Delaware have some of their weirdest traditions. We're known for our crabs, not the disease people watching outside Delaware. We're known for our snow crabs. You know, the food that I eat generously. Scrabble.
I love catching.
Delaware. I get Scrabble outside of Delaware. It makes me upset.
I love catching and eating blue crabs. Yeah. But Scrapple, we have no sales tax. We have
no sales tax, tax haven for businesses. Like Donald Trump has a few businesses here, if you didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of people incorporate their businesses here.
Because, you know, Delaware has a thing about paying taxes. They don't like to charge people for those because people don't like to live here. We have a lot of old people. Yeah. But don't worry, you should live here now because in about 50 to 100 years, we'll be underwater. So, because Delaware's
it gets pretty redneck here, too. It's pretty redneck.
We have a mix. We're mostly Democratic because we have the big city with a lot of people. But if you go down south, it might get a little bit, it might get a tad bit racist, but never too racist. It never gets too racist.
Listen to this. I've heard that there is a Ku Klux Klan organization out of Lipsick or Little Creek, I believe. You know, and that's not south. That's really anything south of the Sandy Canal gets a little. Once you get outside of the cities, it's pretty redneck. I mean,
not too redneck. You got Dover, your neutral areas.
Yeah, but that's still a city. Once you get outside of Dover. Once you get outside of Dover and Rehoboth, it gets like
we have a lot of Amish people. A heck of a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not racist or anything, but we just have a lot of horses, horseback ride. But I was with Josh, and we were up in New York with his uncle. We were on our way back down. And I just happened to see this nice little bar, and it just had a lot of familiar signs and flags. So I went back into my deep knowledge of things that I should not know about. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I know I knew that flag. That's the Ku Klux Klan. They have a whole bar. It was the karaoke bar. And I was like, oh, I knew that sign from somewhere. That's the KKK. Oh, and there's the swastikas. Yeah. There's a heck of a lot of stuff. And I think we were in like PA. A little bit close to PA.
Oh yeah, Pennsylvania. There's
quite a few.
Don't let the cities deceive you. It's redneck there too. But you want to hear a funny story? We go to the Baltimore Antique Arms Show pretty much every year that they've had it, which they've had it for a long time.
Yeah, you're making yourself sound a little bit redneck, but okay. Yeah, keep going.
It's antique collectibles, but there's once on the way. There's this house right off the highway. And it is one of the most redneck things you'll ever see. It's a 2-story house, who obviously they wanted to make this 2-story standard house look like a plantation house because they have the pillars, but it's not a plantation house. It's just, it has pillars, and they have golf cars sitting in the park in their driveway, you know, as every white trash person does. And as well as not only they have the Confederate flag flying high on their flag post, and I do not believe they may have the American flag, but I'm not even sure if they have the American flag there.
Can you stop putting that flag next to the American flag? You're making us look bad. Stop. It's really making America look bad.
It makes me upset when I see people, especially like a lot of the times, see people out here, like drive out here with their trucks where I live, and they'll have flags. And it's like, sometimes they don't even have the American flag, but most of the time, like, it's like, I'm fine if you want to fly other flags. Just fly them below the American flag like you're supposed to, like it says in the flag code. Like, just fly the American flag, should be the highest flag there, you know. And then fly whatever you want below it. I might not agree with what your flag says, but
we can't restrict you.
You can fly it. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, can you like not put it right up to par with us? I mean, we're trying to make America look good.
They lost. Get over it.
Washington, D.C., they want to make it a state, and I can tell you why they want to make it a state. Not because they want to give it state rights. That's not going to happen. I don't care about the state rights for D.C. You know why they really want that state as a state so bad? And you know why Democrats are pushing it, Republicans are against it?
Democratic voters, Democratic House and Senate seats.
Why? Yep. Washington D.C. is the only part of the country that has never voted conservative. Not once. They have never voted conservative once in their history.
It's two liberal Senate seats and a liberal House seat.
I mean, guaranteed liberal seat.
I like
I like just 50 stars, 50 states. And we have tons of territory. You guys want to give Puerto Rico, make that a state. What about American Samoa?
Yeah, I think honestly, I think we should make those states because, you know, like
taxation,
the whole reason. Yeah, exactly. The whole reason we seceded from England is because we weren't being represented in Parliament. It's like you realize we're just doing what the founding fathers separated because of. It's like,
and well, Britain still. I mean, it's like the UK. They have Commonwealth, so basically these places govern themselves. But except with the US, we still have full authority over them, but they govern themselves really. And yeah, it's not the best thing, but they say Puerto Rico, if you did make it a state, they're pushing that a little bit less because Puerto Ricans tend not to like America. And they say Puerto Ricans would most likely they would probably give it 1-1, one Republican and one Democrat per seat. They say because I think Puerto Ricans are a bit more religious, and religious people do not like liberals in a way. They hate liberals so much. It really intrigues me how much religious groups hate liberals. And now liberals have turned the cops against. They're like, why are the cops agreeing with me? Because you kind of want to take away their money. And if they can't get their raises, you're ruining a lot of incentives. Like, because in Delaware, Delaware cops get paid a heck of a lot. Well, not a lot, but they get paid quite a bit. Like starting.
I don't mean to interrupt, but my phone's at like 15%.
Great.
So I'm gonna have to go pretty soon.
I mean, I might as well clear this up. I do a lot of editing, or probably not, because I didn't really think I said anything to get me canceled. I didn't say too much to get myself canceled, but might as well clear it up now because I got to move some stuff around my house. Well, thank you, Michael, for talking about how bad the world has gotten. Because, this is America, and we stand to be the only country that does not care what happens inside of it. Instead, we spend most of our time not trying to let China take over the world. And that is all we have for today. Thanks, Michael. You can leave.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Evening. It's night now.
I'm removing you. Dang it! All right, get the removing time. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. I guarantee no one's watching the whole video because I don't have that many friends. And plus, a lot of you have better things to do with your lives. So this is the doctor of Netflixology. I bid you a good day.